Before the Big Bang, before time itself, there was one sacred rule that existed for us artists, the holy pipeline: sketch, ink, color. It was carved into the frontal lobes of each of us with a G pen, and every artist I ever admired followed this formula and got godlike at it. But not me. I strayed. I abandoned the holy tres leches, sold my G pen to the Pirate Rouge gorilla glued on top of my monitor, and for the next 10 years I avoided LINEART like it was cursed. Despite being forged in the sweaty pits of 2011 DeviantArt and making a bunch of art and manga this way, yes, manga, I used to want my own anime one day just like you, I eventually left it all and took a much darker path, for the dumbest reason. I stopped doing line art not for some grand or cool vigilante reason, no, not really. The truth is pretty cringe, but I literally stopped doing art this way because I heard someone say line art sucks once. That's it. That's all it took. And my malleable little DeviantArt boy brain took that as absolute unshakable truth. So after believing some Captain Dingus, I stopped line art altogether traditionally and digitally to pursue a different way of making art. For the next 10 freaking years, and it was sick, actually, until it wasn't. I made a few videos already saying that you should always follow what feels most natural and fun for you when you're making art, so whatever that process looks like for you is the process for you. And that is exactly what I ended up doing. Regardless of whatever soggy footlocker said about line art, I always knew deep down that I really did hate like drawing laser perfect surgical lines and losing the energy of your sketch in order to have the soulless ink copy on top once you hide that sketch layer. That sucked, like I just hated doing it, and I knew that it made my heart palpitate and I got all sweaty every time I tried to get the goddamn hair strand right every single time. So during my 10-year adventure, I decided to maximize the parts of art I had the most fun with, which was always making a mess and seeing cool things in the mess. So I built a process which aligned with that. Instead of murdering the sketch in front of its children, I would just work it into like a pre-render focusing on values, then throw colors on top, and then work it again. Overall, it pretty much simulates digitally what oil painters do traditionally. I think, I don't really know, I only made like 2 oil paintings ever and I stopped because I hate how greasy everything gets. It's gross. But there's a problem with the method I spent 10 years developing. It is godly inefficient. Since I'm rendering something to completion pretty much in black and white and then rendering it to completion again but with color, it basically means I'm making 2 whole paintings every time I sit down to try to make one. So in my prime and try hard never touch grass state, I was able to get a new painting done this way every 2 weeks. So the first whole entire weeks, whole 7 days, would be spent with the sketch and rendering it to black and white, and then the next 7 days would be throwing color on top of it and then painting it again. And which, disclaimer, who cares how long it takes you to complete a piece? All that matters is you get it done and you had fun and learned something. So don't compare size or completion time with anybody else, just create. Though for me, I started to get really bummed out with the whole thing, and it wasn't until I realized this one thing did I see the real flaw behind my work, so let's talk about that. The experiment, trying line art again. So the real reason all these years I never practiced line art seriously wasn't because I hated doing it or I thought it looked bad. In fact, my favorite art of all time consists of like a heavy line art workflow. The real reason was literally because I've been very insecure about my drawing ability for a very long time. I never practiced it because I convinced myself I was not good enough for it. And as soon as I realized that, and by the way, it was like literally a galaxy-shattering breakthrough for me. Keep in mind, I'm talking about my whole journey spanning all my years of painting, not necessarily just my recent stuff or the work you know me from. But yeah, anyway, those good, clean, delicious lines require skill, which, yeah, duh, like on a technical level, that's a given, but more specifically, drawing cool characters in cool poses requires skill and a whole lot of practice. This is what tripped me up so bad. I was overwhelmed by the amount of work I thought was required for this, which turns out it's not that bad at all if you're smart about it. But I literally skipped the part where you learn how to draw and practiced everything else forever. And by everything else, I'm meaning like all the other fundamentals with painting, like, you know, values, color, fucking shading, all that other stuff. And yeah, like it worked, and I learned so much about anatomy, values, colors, and exactly what I just talked about, which I am internally grateful for, but whenever I tried to just make a cool drawing, I was cooked. This really became apparent whenever I tried to draw without reference, especially. See, all of my paintings are essentially just big, fancy studies. I relied so much on a model and various references for everything, and okay, that's literally fine, and nothing to be ashamed or guilty of. Guilt kills fun and opportunity, by the way, so none of that. Also, pretty much every famous painter out there does this to some extent and makes cool shit all the same, so like, you know, do whatever. Though there was such a gap when I looked at my paintings compared to what I would look at like my no reference sketches. There's such a big gap to me, and I hated that. So I knew I had to suck the big chode and face that fear head on. Flash forward to what I'm doing to conquer that right now. Basically for the next month or 30 days or whatever, I'm filling up a page with drawings entirely from imagination. and video on that will be out soon. I got about like 1 or 2 more weeks left. But yeah, after a very slow and difficult start, I unlocked something amazing. I can draw poses from imagination and ink them with clean-ish lines and strokes. This was such a huge revelation right there at that moment. The artist tahraat, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, that artist flashed into my brain like it was Aaron Yeager contacting me from the past and telling me not to come to school tomorrow, and I found this video. Alright, so here's where it all goes crazy. The link to his video is in the description, by the way, but basically it's just a start to finish process video of one of his paintings. He's absolutely cracked, by the way. GOAT status supreme, please support them. Their work pretty much embodies everything that I loved about art back in the day. It's very like Soul Calibur, character, Katsuya Terada, concept arty, you know, but it's super cool. Makes you just want to sit down and draw just by looking at it. Great artist. But yeah, anyway, this fool gave me all I needed to know and more. Can you believe it? Since I had LINEART quote-unquote unlocked, but really I suddenly just believed I could do it now, I could finally move on to the next step, which was literally the secret to it all. I'm not really going to break down tahraat's whole process step by step, since I'm going to be honest with you, I barely even know what I'm doing, and I just fast forwarded to see the gist of what was going on in the videos. So I'll just give you a gist of what I was doing. After the line art, the big key or cheese, as Leon would say, is this gray base looking thing. Then you throw colors on top of the gray with an MB cube brush or a regular roundy, and that gives you all the strokey, texture, Copic marker stuff, and then you render it all out from there pretty much. And that's where it was like game over, because after all the base colors were down, this is where I applied all of my accumulated painting knowledge, and boom, we're in. I literally can't believe how fast this is too. I took my 14-day PB down to like 1 to 2 days. And like sure, there's no background, these are less detailed, but even doing these the exact same way I used to do paintings would have taken twice as long. And not look nearly as cool or promising for what's to come, so like I'm super stoked about it. Now I'm not cracked at this yet, but I'm getting closer by the minute, and there's so much to take into account with this process that I'm learning to dance in tune with slowly each day. It kind of feels like when you're switching over from like, you know, a fat Xbox controller that you've been using your whole life to suddenly like a GameCube controller. It's the same but totally different, and every once in a while you gotta bust the dad move and look down at the buttons. But I love this way of painting so much that I really think in just a few pieces you can see how much more alive I felt, especially when you compare them next to my recent stuff. And yeah, I don't know, like obviously the characters are more bright and happy and they're not like OCs or whatever, so it's not just all dark and sad, but you can just tell, like I felt a lot better and more excited when I was painting this way versus like how I've been painting for 10 whole freaking years up to this point. I guess that's just the power of line art too. Like I never really realized how fast you can paint if you just have clean lines first. Like maybe this is just common knowledge and everybody else knows this and they've known this for a very long time, but this is literally the first time that I've actually sat down and experienced it. And I'm blown away. I love painting this way now. Like I haven't felt this excited about painting it's so long. Like it's not a bore to just sit at my desk and like make a cool piece anymore. Now it's like a challenge. It's exciting. It's fun. It's like I want to get better at this. And I think most importantly is I actually am liking the way my art is looking. And that might sound like crazy and like, you know, whatever, but I never really liked how a lot of my paintings looked. Like they look technically really good and like all this other stuff, but I wasn't in tune with it. I wasn't vibing with it. And yeah, actually a lot of that stems from like a lot of turmoil I was facing with all of this in general as well. Like before I was a YouTuber, I was just some dark little troll posting sad paintings on a shadow banned Instagram account every 2 weeks. And some part of me was unwilling to close that chapter to start something new and way more fulfilling. I always knew I wanted to do more, but I had locked myself out of that possibility because I categorized myself as a painter who hates line art. It took challenging that belief and learning to be more secure with my drawing ability to have this sweet new map to explore and get better at. Also, a cool little side note, I finally understand how those cracked artists on social media like Instagram and stuff are posting like every 2 days or every single day now. I get it. It's line art. It's just, it was always there. It's so fast. It's just right in front of my face. And I never knew. Here I am posting every 2 weeks. Anyway, so yeah, no real big technical art tip or steps to follow in this video, and I understand that's what the majority of people watching my channel are looking for right now. And generally I get it, like Vale, it's cool and all that you had these breakthroughs and can work on something at this level, but how do I get there myself, goddamn you? And those videos with technical steps that you can take to like you know, do stuff like this as well will come out, but to be honest, I hate making tutorial type videos because I don't think they would truly help out that much in the long run. Like, at the core of what I'm stoked about making is making cool stuff to provide for all the artists out there that I wish somebody did for me, and it's always the more abstract and positive mindset shifty based ways of thinking that have helped me the most in my journey by far, way more than any other tutorial could have. Not that tutorials didn't help me as well, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I hope this video did that in some part for you, and I guess my challenge that will make your art better guaranteed would be to recognize the thing in your art that you avoid, or tend not to practice because you are keenly aware that you do not know it that well, and just do it. Always remember, the thing that you once hated and dreaded will be the thing that you don't even think about doing anymore. Just like how you don't look at the buttons when you play your favorite game. I guess that's it though. I'm going to be painting like this until I get cracked at it and practice whatever else comes along, so do let me know what characters I should paint next. There's only so many times I can paint Felicia and Morgan. And yeah, if you'd like to see the full process, you know, sketch to finished colored painting and line art included, that's all available right now for channel members. For just as little as 99 cents a month, you can have access to all of these videos and a lot more behind the scenes content, and it greatly helps out the channel, so thank you so much. And yeah, do let me know, have you always known the power behind line art? Do you use line art? How cool is the anime opening for your manga gonna be? I don't know, just tell me it all. One step back, two steps forwards. See ya.